Kimani, tell us about where do rabbits live?
So basically this is where I've made the cages from. I should start by what have I used. Nimetumia this wire mesh hapa nje for ventilation and for the lighting. Kwa sababu one of the things that is very important for rabbit keeping ni ensure that they are in a very, it's a safe wako nje kwa sababu naturally rabbits stay out. So now when you keep them in a place that they don't get enough light and it's not well ventilated, they'll have health issues. So hapa ndio, this is where they stay. Nimetengeneza na this wire mesh nje. Alafu the size of the cages, I'll say for me I do like a feet. I just si kubwa sana, a small one. So like when you do a square one, mostly me hufanya a square one. So I do a square one, so almost this size. Because nikisema I give you the exact feet, utapata inaweza kuwa they do vary depending on the sizes of the breed. So if you have the big breeds for the Flemish Giant, unazipatia a bigger space for them to be moving around frequently. But if you have a lot of area, depending on where you're keeping the rabbits, it's better to give them a bigger area. Because rabbits, they do like playing. And that's why at us we put them as pets, because they like playing. So if you confine them in a very place and you're very stuffy, they won't do well. Yeah.
Okay, what are the requirements that one needs to build a rabbit cage?
Okay, so one of the requirements that I'll say when making a rabbit cage, first of the things you should look is the waste disposal. That is one of the main consideration. Regardless of how you're going to make your rabbit cage, ensure that the waste is disposed in the utmost correct way. Because some of the people wanaweza tumia mbao, wengine wanaweza tumia like the tires, like the ones I have, wengine wanaweza tumia the wire mesh venye here I've used na bado iweke chini. But the major concern ni how are you going to dispose your waste. Ensure that whenever you're making your cage, lazima the waste is disposed in the utmost correct way. Kwa sababu ukiacha the waste ishinde huko, they'll bring other health conditions and so the rabbits won't be healthy. So for example, like for me, what I've used for the requirements of the materials that I've used, nimetumia mabati for the shelter. Definitely where you keep them hakufai kuwa wet. So one of the things ni kuzuia in case of rain. So how are you going to do that? So for me, I've used mabati. And after that sasa on the corners nikaweka mabati too na mabati the other side. Alafu chini nikaweka the rubber. Kwa sababu nikiweka chini the rubber, where the rabbits are, they don't step on their waist. And the rubber is the tires, they are very comfortable. Hata rabbit ukiona rabbit ikirukaruka juu na ni kama it's having fun. So hiyo inaisaidia sana na pia hiyo place haikui smelly. So for me, those are the materials that I've used. I've used the mabati, the iron sheets. I've used the pipe. For the pipes, I've used them outside so that the waste is disposed there. Then it's taken to a central place. Then the rubbers, I've talked about that. And basically that is what I've used. Those are some of the requirements. And definitely you should always ensure it is well ventilated. Ventilation is something very key. Yeah.
Okay. Now, for one to build like a cage, unaweza tengeneza cage in how long, like your period?
Okay, so like for me, for the cages that I've had, the ones that I have, I've made them gradually. Like you see, I started with 3 rabbits, so I started with a small cage. Alafu I went upgrading it. Like for the major one, the big one, it took only me 1 day. 1 day I was able to make everything. I just ensured I had the materials, I had the correct measurements, and I made it with a friend of mine. So we came, we worked on it. Now that's what we are using right now.
Okay, is there a specific kind of, like for the raw materials, when it comes to the wood and timber, is there a specific kind of wood that you need?
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so like a specific material. For the specific material, when it comes first to the wire mesh, if you put the light wire mesh, the rabbits will eat it. Zitaikula and they'll be able to move from one house to another. So you see, if you had a female rabbit that was pregnant and the next one was a male one, then it comes to the house, unaona they'll have a problem. So you use the wire mesh that is very hard. Kuna ile ngumu kabisa. That is what I use for mine. Because hii ingine, I only use it huku nje for where the light is coming in from. Alafu for the wood, natumia tu hii ya kawaida yenye natumika kujenga. Hiyo ndio huwa ninaitumia. But I have to ensure that nimeipaka maybe some oil. Kwa sababu kitu ingine an issue when using too much wood ni mambo ya kukuliwa na mchwa. So mchwa inakuanga very big disadvantage kwa sababu unaona ikikuliwa na mchwa na pia hizi wood zikianza kukua na some ni kama infect, zikianza kukuliwa na mchwa unapata hiyo maneno highlighted, it becomes an issue to the rabbits, because you see those is like they are animals that they are affecting the woods, and this wood ni pali the rabbits zinakaa. So hizo rabbits zinaweza hata kuwa affected na hizo mchwa zenyewe. So unaona inakosa kuwa very good for their health. So alafu something else, I use this mbao called bito for the corners. It's a round one, mostly used for wase wenye wanajenga wanaijua, wase wakijenga they use to kusimamisha mabati. So that is what I use for cutting across the houses. Yeah.
And how do you said that wood is zinakulwa na mchwa. So how do you normally control ama prevent this?
So I use oil. So before making the houses, na ensure ingi I've used oil. Na hiyo oil na ensure imekauka for some time ndio the harufu isisumbue the rabbits. So I have to use oil ndio inasaidia mchwa haikuliwi na mchwa. So that is what I do.
Okay. Yeah. What do you normally do to care for the cages?
To care for the cages. Okay, one of the things that I do is regular cleaning. Daily, I have to clean it very early in the morning, and if possible, I clean it at night, during the evening. So with that, tunaona kama ni the waste yenye ilikuwa imeanguka somewhere, I'm able to collect it na high pile up, so the place becomes very, very clean. So that is what I do to ensure that the cages are good. And also I do frequent repairs. Utapata like before I didn't use the hinges because you know I was starting. So what I did, you don't have to pressure yourself while starting. Tunasemanga mtu jikuna jipatapo. So with the small amount of capital that you have, that is what you start with. So like for me, I started with for the hinges I used rubber. Nikakata tu nini ya tire, nikaweka this side and this side, then katumia nails. So this was how we used to open with hinges. But then after some time nikaweka sasa the hinges. So it just goes systematically pole pole too. Yeah, so that is one of the things. Yeah.
The area that you need to build for the cages, like the space, what do you require?
Okay, for the area where you need to build the houses, I'll say the first thing is you consider the rabbits zenye utaweka. Kama ni rabbit, the big ones, you give them a bigger room. Just like I've said, rabbits like playing. Rabbits are one of the best pets. So ukizipatia a bigger room, zinakuwa very playful. Zikiwa very playful, unapata they live long. Like they have food and everything. Like you've considered all their factors. So for me, I'll say I either use a step or a hand like this. So this is what I constructed. Then nikisha tengeneza hivyo, I get the right fits, and then sasa tunazitengeneza.